All right, fellas, everything we learned from week 2 of the NFL, it just ended, okay? The Eagles-Chiefs game just ended. This is before Sunday Night Football. This is before Monday Night Football, so I'll break down those videos. Just subscribe for more content. Starting off with Thursday, we're going to go quick. We're going to be impactful. I'm not going to waste your time. That's how we do it here. Fantasy content relevant, obviously. So, Packers, Washington, big headlines where obviously Austin Eckler's injury went down, meaning Bill Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is probably going to take over RB1 duties along with Chris Rodriguez. And really, nothing else jumped out to me this game. Debo is obviously fantasy relevant, and I think he will be fantasy relevant. The Packers defense is absolutely insane. They are just, if your running back is playing against them and he's not like a first round pick, I highly suggest sitting him that week because you saw Austin Eckler and Bill Krosky Merritt absolutely get destroyed on the ground. Jaden Daniels got his 20. I feel like that's his floor. And Matthew Golden got 0 fantasy points. As you can see, I mean, Tucker Kraft led the game. He actually had like the most tight ends or yards by a tight end in Packers history over the last like 10 years. Last was like Richard Rodgers, but 124 yards. Jordan Love was efficient. Josh Jacobs was efficient. And that's really all I got from this game. The Packers are absolutely dominant. I think they are my pick to win the Super Bowl. Next up, let's go to the Sunday slate. Detroit manhandled the Chicago Bears, and manhandle is an absolute, it's not the right word. I wish there was a word above that because Jared Goff had 334 passing yards, Jahmyr Gibbs had 94 rushing yards, freaking Amon-Ra St. Brown had 3 touchdowns, Jameson Williams had a touchdown, Brock Wright had a touchdown, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs had a touchdown. Like, it was, 52 points. Like, this game was absolutely insane, as you can see. Everybody just ate for this Lions team, and also to the Bears, DeAndre Swift gets his first touchdown of the year, fantasy, obviously. Caleb Williams had an okay day, but I'm looking at Rome Odunze, who had 128 yards on 11 targets and 2 touchdowns. So if you're a Rome Odunze stockholder, I think he's going to be the wide receiver one of this team. I know it's only 2 weeks in, but he's looked pretty good so far. I'm not going to front. I'm not going to lie. Okay, next up, Cleveland-Baltimore now. This is a game that I went into and thinking Derrick Henry was going to absolutely murder this Cleveland Browns team. He did not. Myles Garrett actually had his own. They actually had a pretty decent game. Defensively on the ground, except Lamar Jackson just found people like, who were the touchdown scorers for the Ravens? It wasn't Zay Flowers, it wasn't Derrick Henry, it wasn't Mark Andrews, it was Devontae Walker and Tylan Wallace. Oh, and DeAndre Hopkins. He almost had 2 touchdowns. So yeah, Derrick Henry didn't get in. If you're a Derrick Henry fantasy owner, you're probably pissed because this was probably the best matchup he was going to get all year. Now we had Quinson Judkins playing this game for the first game of his NFL career. It was not good. You can see the stat line, but his longest rush was 31 yards. So if you take that away, he had 9 rushes for 30 yards. Not that good. Again, it was his first game. What are you going to expect from a rookie? But Dylan Sampson only had 4 attempts, and I'm pretty sure those were like deep in the end of the game. He did have a touchdown, but it was the last touchdown of the game. It did not make any sense for him to even be there. I think it's here somewhere. Scoring plays. He scored with 1 minute left, 55 seconds, 8-yard touchdown from Dylan Gabriel. So that's all you need to know. I'm not Zay Flowers, by the way. I think he could be an absolute league winner. He was drafted in like the 6th, 7th, 8th round of drafts because you don't really know what you're going to get from this Baltimore pass offense because the run offense is so great. Zay Flowers, league winner. Cleveland, whatever. The only cool thing about Cleveland, I guess, was another good week from Harold Fannin Jr. He actually he had more receptions, more targets, or did he have more targets? Same amount of targets, pretty much the same exact stat line as David Njoku, just 1 more reception, 10 more yards. Jerry Jeudy had I feel like this is Jerry Jeudy's stat line every single week. So get used to that. You can get used to Harold Fannin. If he's somehow still on your waiver wire, he is an absolute steal in the waiver wire. Even if you have David Njoku, I have both. Next week, I will be starting Harold Fannin Jr. Okay, next game. I'm actually really excited for Sunday Night Football. If you guys are watching this before, there's no way you are. But if you are, comment down below who you think is going to win Sunday Night Football. And if you've already watched Sunday Night Football, comment down below who's going to win Monday Night Football. And while you're down there, subscribe for more NFL fantasy content. Giants-Dallas, game of the year while my lights flicker. This game was absolutely insane. As a CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott stack owner, I loved it. It fed my fantasy team. I won my fantasy matchup this week. It wasn't as insane as, how about the Malik Neighbors, Russell Wilson stack? Russell Wilson had 450 passing yards, and Malik Neighbors had 167 receiving yards, 2 tugs. Also, can we highlight Javonte Williams? Is there a way to get, by the way, StatMuse, you're my new best friend. I'll be going over this pretty much every single week. Javonte Williams, he is a true RB1 workhorse for this Cowboys team, and I was talking to my buddies about this. I was like, okay, how much longer do we see Jaden Blue? How much longer do we see Miles Sanders cut into that workload a little bit? It's not going to happen. Javonte Williams is here to stay. I mean, 18 attempts, 100 yards. Obviously, they trust him on the ground. 6 receptions for 30 yards as well. He's 130 yards total and a touchdown. So they obviously trust him. And coming from a team that I didn't think was going to be able to run the ball at all, came and just ran the ball. I know it's the Giants, and they're probably supposed to run the ball on the Giants. But yeah, let's talk about the Giants. So Cam Scott about 11 attempts, 45 yards. He actually was getting in the game. Hit a long, I think he had like a 24-yard run that broke him into the end zone, and then he scored that 5-yard touchdown. Tyron Tracy only had 5 attempts for 15 yards. He was more heavily involved in the pass game, as he had 4 catches on 5 targets for 36 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson's probably going to be a top 5 waiver wire pick this week. He's probably available in over 50-60% of leagues. I mean, 10 targets. I know this game is a 77-point total, and that's probably boosting up these stats a little bit, but he was Russell Wilson's go-to when Malik Neighbors wasn't open. Like, don't get me wrong. Russ hit Malik when he was open. Russ looked like 2013 Russell Wilson until he threw a pick at the end of the game. But 10 targets, 8 receptions, 142 yards, and a touchdown from Wan'Dale Robinson. If you have a guy that went down this week, or maybe your guy is suspended, or whatever, you have a spot, you play in a deep league, you play 2 flexes, Wan'Dale Robinson, I think, could be a viable option. And also, Jackson Dart got a little bit of play this week. There was just some special packages for him. It wasn't like they took out Russ to play Jackson Dart. Moving on to this game, bro. This game gave me absolute headache. So before we get into this game, I'm just going to go over the sponsor of our podcast. It is Dabble Fantasy. Use code AllTalkSports for a free $25 and you guys sign up. But seriously, I missed by 1 pick. Devontae Smith could have got me 10 more yards. I would have 20x'd my lineup. You pick more or less on your favorite athletes. And the best part about it is you don't, like other apps, you got to put like $10 in to get like double deposit match or whatever. All you have to do is download, use the code AllTalkSports, link in the bio, you get a free $25. Like, you don't have to deposit a single thing. So make sure to check them out today. Dabble Fantasy, they're the GOAT. They're my GOATs. I love y'all. Let's get right back into the video. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. As you know, or if you don't know, Joe Burrow is going to be out several weeks, probably 4 to 6 weeks with turf toe. Turf toe is not a thing that you guys like. When I hear turf toe, I think, oh, it's, just a toe injury. It's not. It's brutal. It's actually extremely brutal. And when he went out of the game, Jake Browning came in, and although they won this game 31-27, Jake Browning pretty much, I think, had every single passing yard to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He also threw 3 interceptions. But I'm just going to highlight Jamar Chase. I mean, come on, dog. You went last week, you had like 4 total fantasy points. You then get hit with 16 targets, 14 receptions, 165 yards, and a touchdown. T. Higgins also came back, and I think his 42-yard touchdown saved his day. If I'm a T. Higgins stockholder, bro, I might be selling high on T. Higgins right now because, A, he doesn't play with Joe Burrow for the foreseeable future. B, he didn't look that good with Joe Burrow. C, this might be the most points he scores in the next 6 to 8 weeks without Joe Burrow. So if you can find somebody in your league to maybe trade him, trade him. I'm not big on T. Higgins. I never was. I never will be. Chase Brown, a very disappointing day. No touchdowns. Did he get any receiving work? 2 catches for 20 yards. That's not something you want to see out of Chase Brown. This just Bengals offense somehow came back and won this game. Sorry, he had 241 yards. I was looking at Joe Burrow. Jake Browning, I was like, how did he only throw for 76 yards? Joe Burrow, 76 yards, then got hurt. But Jake Browning came in and threw for 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and came back and won the game. On the other side of the ball, Travis Etienne is the RB1. Bajal Tutin came in and looked fucking disgusting, by the way. Like, he looked absolutely gross. He had a touchdown reception where he absolutely snatched some kid's ankles. If Bajal Tutin's on your waiver wire, he's another one you have to go get right now. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those guys where if Travis Etienne goes down or if he doesn't look that efficient. I mean, 5 yards per carry looks pretty damn efficient to me. I know he had a 30-yard run, and last week he had like a 70-yard run. That's kind of going to boost his numbers up a little bit, but if he continues to have the success on the ground, why not? Talk about success in the air. Where is Brian Thomas Jr.? 12 targets today and only 50 yards. What is going on? I think he had a better connection with Mac Jones last season than he does with Trevor Lawrence. We get guys like Parker Washington, De'Ami Brown. Travis Hunter actually didn't do very well today. He kind of was hurt for like 5 or 10 minutes during the actual game, and he was playing a lot of both sides. I don't know about Travis Hunter moving forward, guys, but De'Ami Brown and Parker Washington out performing Brian Thomas fantasy-wise. It's not a good look. It's not a good look from your 1st or 2nd round pick. So that's all I got to say from this game. Also, T-Law, you balled out. I mean, and if your quarterback's playing against the Bengals defense, they should ball out. Okay, we got, I'm going to go through these games a little bit quicker. So we got the Rams in Tennessee. Tennessee, not much. Alec Ayomore? I forget. I totally forget. But I picked him up A.O. Manor. I'm an idiot. A.O. Manor, if he is on your waiver wire, he should not be. But if he is, go grab him. I grabbed him this week before he went off. 6 targets, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Probably the leading scorer of this Tennessee team besides Tony Pollard, who just had an extreme workload, 20 attempts, 92 yards. Matthew Stafford got it done against the Tennessee Titans. Puka Nacua, he had a 45-yard rush for a touchdown. Devontae Adams had 6 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Vintage Tay. And the Rams just look like they could do whatever they want. Also, if you're a Kyren owner, I feel bad for you because Blake Corum got a 1-yard touchdown. Okay, that's all I really have to say. Puka Nacua, you're a dog, by the way. You could be the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football if you continue to do what you do. You're a dog. Talk about who could be a wide receiver 1. I'm not going to lie, dog. This is going to be the DK Metcalf revenge game, which he did score a touchdown. Let's just go over DK real quick. Yeah, he had 3 catches for 20 yards on a touchdown. So the touchdown saved his fantasy day. Jackson Smith and Jigba could be the steal of the draft. In my draft, he went like the end of the 3rd, 4th turn. And 8 receptions, 10 targets, 103 yards, and no touchdowns yet this season. And he still has like back-to-back 20 fantasy point games. Cooper Kupp is finally getting involved in this offense. 9 targets, 90 yards. Looks finally back, kind of, maybe. I still wouldn't be comfortable playing him week in and week out. The guy who did score a touchdown was Torrey Horton. He's a deep cut. He could be fantasy relevant later on. But it's time to finally look at these running backs. Now, going into this game, I actually wanted to start Charbonnet over Kenneth Walker. I could not do it. Zach Charbonnet still got more rushing attempts than Ken Walker. But, I mean, look at this. Ken Walker, 8.1 average or yards per reception. Yards per carry. It's late. I just watched football all day. I'm sorry. He also had a touchdown and a 20-yard run. Ken Walker looked like Ken Walker again, especially against the Steelers defense. It looked pretty promising. Sam Darnold, you're okay. Just 2 interceptions. Same with A-Rod, also threw 2 interceptions. So we move. Let me know your fantasy MVP this week. Me, it had to be that CeeDee Lamb. Oh no, Jonathan Taylor saved my day. But we're gonna get to Mr. JT. Buffalo, New York Jets. I'm not going to talk about the Jets. They were awful today, and I mean god-awful. Garrett Wilson couldn't do anything. Breece Hall couldn't do anything, and it all kind of relies on, when I looked, Justin Fields threw 11 pass attempts. 11 pass attempts. Then he got hurt. I think he has a concussion. Josh Allen also got hurt in this game. I think he broke his nose, came back. Didn't have a good game at all. Had no touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. James Cook, if you're a James Cook owner, you're extremely happy. If you're a Josh Allen owner, you're extremely pissed. 21 rushing attempts, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2. Are you kidding? Yeah, he probably is some of your fantasy MVPs. Josh Allen, if you have him, he's put up a stinker. You probably lost this week because you spent a 3rd-round pick on Josh Allen. If you had Josh Allen and won, congrats to you. Offensively, Dalton Kincaid coming out and kind of being that tight end that could be very playable because you probably draft him in the 12th, 13th round because you punted tight end. Dalton Kincaid looks pretty playable. If he can put up 8 points every single week, I mean, that's what David Njoku does. That's what Harold Fannin does. Those are startable tight ends in this league. Keon Coleman has a little bit of a cooler 3 catches, 3 yards. 3 catches on 3 targets for 30 yards pretty much. And yeah, it was just a disaster class if you had any Jets players. I am sorry for you. All right, we're almost done. We have, 5 games left? Let's go to another fantasy pretty relevant game. So we didn't really know what we were going to get out of this 49ers offense because of no Brock Purdy, no George Kittle. Mac Jones said, fuck the Patriots, and I'm a Patriots fan. And he threw for almost 300 yards, almost perfectly. 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. Alvin Kamara had his 100 rushing yards. Jawan Jennings had an absolute bomb of a catch, scored for a touchdown, 89 yards. CMC is CMC. He's an absolute beast. Let's go to the box score. 13 attempts, 55 yards, 4.2 yards per carry for CMC. Jawan Jennings, again, at a 42-yard touchdown receptions. Ricky Pearsall, I'm starting to really like. I'm not going to lie. Even with Mac Jones, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 60 yards. It's a pretty decent day out of your flex player. Hopefully using your flex. Maybe use your wide receiver too. I highly doubt it. Chris Olave is getting hospital balls again. 10 targets, though. The volume is there. So if you have Chris Olave, it's only a matter of time before he has an absolute amazing week and maybe you ship him or you play him. Alvin Kamara, absolute PPR demon. Not only did he have 100 rushing yards, he had 6 receptions. So there's 6 points or 8 points in just his receiving yards and receptions. So you're pretty happy if you're a Kamara fan. Even if the Saints are struggling, he will still be fantasy relevant. I don't think he'll ever not be fantasy relevant until he retires. Patriots, Miami. Now, I'll flip my hat this way for this game. This game is absolutely insane. If you start either defense, I'm sorry for you, except actually they both got punt return, kick return, touchdown. So maybe you're happy. I don't really know. I'm happy if I'm a Drake May owner and I have him in a league where you get 6 points per passing touchdown. He scored 30 points this week. I was extremely happy. Ramondre Stevenson. I'm kind of worried if I'm a Travion Henderson fan. I'm just kidding. I'm a Travion Henderson fan. I'm a Travion Henderson stock owner. I'm a Travion Henderson truther. I think he will find his way into this offense. I think it'll be kind of like a Zach Moss, Chase Brown role from last year, where Zach Moss was actually a very playable running back until he actually went down and Chase Brown came out and obviously was like a top 10 fantasy running back. But 11 attempts, 54 yards for Ramondre Stevenson. But that's not what I want to focus on, is his receiving game. He had 5 catches for almost 100 yards. Yeah, 88 yards. No touchdowns, obviously, because Drake May threw 3 total. No, he threw for 2 touchdowns, and he had a rushing touchdown. Keyshawn Boutte had 1 catch as a touchdown, as a perfect pass right in the bucket. And then he threw onto Mac Hollins to open up the game. So Drake May really like to share the ball today, by the way. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different players with a reception on the Patriots. Tyreek Hill finally got his. He finally broke that 30-yard thing where he can't get a pass for more than 30 yards. He had a 47-yard. If Tua could throw the fucking football, it'd be a touchdown. He actually would have 2 of them. I'm not going to lie. But 100 yards on 6 catches, if you're a Tyreek Hill owner, you relax a little bit. Devon Achane, you're an absolute dog. You're going to be a fantasy MVP. You're going to be the reason that I lose this week in fantasy football, probably. So, 11 attempts, 30 rushing yards is not what I'm scared about. I'm scared about the receiving upside of Devon Achane. 8 fucking receptions from Devon Achane. What are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Tua, you can't throw the ball, so you have to just check it down to your running back? Nah, I'm just playing. Listen, Tua, a decent game compared to last week. He had that game-sealing interception, though. I'm not going to lie. But 300 yards from Tua, what more can you ask for? That Miami defense is just not there. Maybe it's Mike McDaniel. I don't know. But Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, a lot better than last week. So if you have a lot of stock in the Miami offense, I guess you're a little sigh of relief. If you're a Miami fan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So this game just ended. This game was crazy. They had onside kicks. They had penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty. I was watching it on Red Zone. I was scared. But Ted McMillan, finally the breakout game I've been looking for. I know it's only week 2, but I was a little scared because I started him over Deebo Samuel and Tyrone Tracy this week and DeAndre Swift. So 6 receptions for 100 yards. Finally the breakout game that I was kind of looking for. He had 10 targets. Bryce Young was looking for him every single drive, it looked like, except for the last drive when Hunter Renfrow was stealing everything. Let's talk about Hunter Renfrow a little bit. Where is he? So he had 9 targets as well, but he had 2 touchdowns. So there's got to be a point in the season where they switch those red zone targets and touches to Ted McMillan. I mean, he's 6'4", 230 pounds. It's got to happen. Let's talk about a big receiver that's just a letdown. I know he had a good week last week. The touchdown saved him, but 5 targets, 2 catches, 27 yards, no touchdowns. Like, dog, Trey McBride just can't do it all. 6 receptions, 7 targets, 80 yards, no touchdowns. James Conner, touchdown saved him as well. And then Michael Wilson on a touchdown, and then a pick 6. So, and Kyler Murray, I think, no, he didn't run one in, did he? No, I don't think so. I don't remember him. Actually, he might have. I don't remember. Whatever. It was a long day of football. But if you have anybody on the Cardinals besides Trey McBride, you're kind of just like, oh my God, what is happening? James Conner, he's going to be relevant for a little bit longer. Low key, man. Don't be sleeping on my boy. 4 receptions, PPR formats. Trey Benson could have a role very soon. Very soon, Trey Benson could have a role. Okay, we are into our last 2 games. Boom, Indiana Jones has arrived, dog. Indiana Jones has arrived. This dude's an absolute baller. I'm not going to lie. Daniel Jones. He threw the ball 34 times, no interceptions, a touchdown to Jonathan Taylor, saved my day, 316 passing yards, and he snuck in a touchdown. Daniel Jones, fellas. Daniel Jones. Okay, but let's talk about Jonathan Taylor with 25 carries for 165 yards against the Broncos defense. Thank you, JT. I'll take that all day long. Tyler Warren, you're going to be a fantasy demon, dog. 4 receptions, 7 targets, 80 yards. Michael Pittman did get the PS2 shadow. PS2 actually did go down for a little bit. He came back. So that's why I actually really thought that Tyler Warren was going to go off this game. I took him in my Dabble entry. You guys should too. And then, of course, Jonathan Taylor had a 25-yard wheel route. It was like a 40-yard catch for a touchdown. It was pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. JT went off. He had like 30 fantasy points. Denver side, J.K. Dobbins looks like he's the lead back. I mean, look at the attempts. Tyler Batty was getting in the game. Like, fellas, if you have R.G. Harvey, are you scared? R.G. Harvey, are you scared? I am. I never drafted him because I don't really like, having a Denver Bronco running back. Now you mix the word rookie into there with Sean Payton? Well, thanks, brother. No thanks. Troy Franklin, he will be an absolute dog. He is your number 1 waiver wire pickup this week. 9 targets, 8 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown, and it was a 42-yard bomb that he didn't get for a touchdown, but he finished that drive with a touchdown. Troy Franklin, this is the name to pick up this week. We got one more game, fellas. My voice is shot. I've been watching football all day, recording videos all day. KC versus Philly, the push, 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 blah, 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 whatever. Dog, let's take fantasy out of it real quick. You can't false start every time and get away with it. Like, am I the only one that sees that? You can't false start every single time and get away with it. But let's go over it. The guys who you thought were going to perform stepped up and performed. Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown, only 100 yards total passing, but that gets it done. Saquon Barkley, 90 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Smith, he was 10 yards away from hitting my freaking Dabble entry, bro. I was low-key heated. If you have AJ Brown in fantasy football, I'm sorry for you. You can just talk with your commissioner right now and ask what the last place punishment is. Just do it over right now. Get it over right now, so you don't have to do it in February when it's freezing outside. At least when I live in the Northeast. So I would do that because he plays in the Eagles and they just run the football and that's all they do. Talk about the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, 4 receptions for 60 yards, and he dropped the ball, or he didn't turn his head in time to catch another touchdown. And it ended up in the Philadelphia Eagles' hands for an interception, almost a pick six. So Kelce, yeah, I don't know. 4 catches for 60 yards. That's actually pretty good for a tight end. Tyquan Thornton, dog had like 2 touchdowns. One he dropped, or one it was actually not even close, and one was a bomb. Marquise Brown, if you spent all your fab on him, I'm sorry for you. That's 8 fantasy points if you're playing a PPR league. Nobody else really. If you have a KC running back, I'm sorry. If you have a KC running back and AJ Brown, dog, I am sorry. But yeah, that is the complete breakdown for week 2. Again, tonight we have actually a really good game. JJ McCarthy versus Mr. Michael Penix. Rematch of the college football championship. And then we have tomorrow night 2 great Monday night games. We actually have Monday Night Mania tomorrow on my my TikTok and my Instagram, which is All Talk Sports TV. Me and my buddy make 2 picks. We put them in an entry together on Dabble. And if one of us loses, we get to spin a wheel, and it's like a punishment wheel. So make sure you guys check that out. And if you guys stay for this long, subscribe for more, and peace.